Welcome back to episode 187 of the Hockey Cards Gongshow podcast. My name is Josh. I'm here with Troy. What's going on, buddy?
Not a whole lot. Same thing as always. Baseball, and then come back home and record.
Work, baseball, gong show.
Yep, that's about
really
it.
The story of your life. Mine's just work and gong show. So not coaching anymore. All right, big show. Lots to get to. We're going to get right into it. But first, just a quick reminder that the Hockey Cards Gongshow podcast is a Patreon podcast, which means that we rely on support from listeners like yourself to help us cover our show expenses, produce more and hopefully better hockey card content, and fund initiatives, even in a small way, to grow the hockey hobby. You can support us. You can do it through Patreon. It costs as little as $5 a month. You can be one of our first out of 199 supporters. Forever hold that title. Also, get exclusive access to the Hockey Cards Gongshow Discord server. Very easy to do. You go to our website, hockeycardsgongshow.com, and click on the Become a Patron link. You can go to the Patreon website directly, patreon.com, and search for Hockey Cards Gongshow. There's a link in the show description, whether you're listening to us on a podcast app or watching us on YouTube. And then finally, in our Instagram and TikTok profiles, there is a link there. All right, Troy, let's go with the game plan, bud.
We begin the show with the almost greatest NHL player to wear, number 87. Then it's off to another playoffs edition of Hobby Deep Dive. We then take a look at some hobby news. Then, Josh, exciting stuff. The Connor Bedard Young Guns canvas design was unveiled today, and we got the story behind the design from Billy Celio at Upper Deck. So stay tuned for that. A lot of great information there. Next is new product releases. We end the show with looking at some of our favorite hockey cards in the current PWCC Weekly Auction and any personal pickups. But then, Josh, that's not all. For the first time ever, we have outtakes at the end of the show. Make sure you stay tuned until the bitter end for some outtakes with Billy Celio from Upper Deck. It's pretty funny. Or it's just additional information.
So,
what's up?
I have a question.
Sure.
Do you think your dogs know when we record?
Yes, I think they do. And when I start talking, they just start barking. And it's funny because it didn't pick up, like, unless you removed it from the audio version, because I went back and listened and I didn't hear
it doesn't really get picked up on.
It doesn't get picked up, and I didn't hear it on the YouTube either. But if someone hears my dogs, I've given up trying to make them stop. They just hear me talking in the office and they decide it's time to bark.
Well, I think they know your podcast voice, because you and I can be on the stream together for like 30 minutes getting ready, talking back and forth.
Yeah.
Never, ever hear your dogs. But literally the second you start in, Troy the podcaster, then they want to join the conversation. I think they're mad that they're not part of the show.
They go into it. So,
all
right. Okay. So that's the rundown. Now it's time to get to the fun stuff. So previously we looked at the greatest NHL player that wore the number that matched our episode number. We ran through all the numbers. So now we're looking at the almost greatest NHL player to wear each number from the runners up in the Hockey Writers' greatest NHL player to wear each number article. Josh, the almost greatest NHL player to wear number 87 per the nominees in the Hockey Writers' greatest NHL player to wear each number article, and selected by me is this guy right here, Donald Brashear.
Interesting.
Everyone should know who Donald Brashear is. Very long career, tough guy, all that fun stuff. There were no other runners up at number 87. As a reminder, the greatest to wear number 87 was some guy named Sidney Crosby.
Never heard of him.
Never heard of him. Don't know who he is. Anyways, our boy, Donald Brashear, Josh, he's a left winger from, I never knew this, Bedford, Indiana. Wow. I didn't know he was American, or he was born in America. However, Brashear had an extremely traumatic childhood, which we will look at in a little more in the facts section. But due to his rough upbringing, Brashear would spend time as a child in Loretteville, Quebec, and Val-Belair, Quebec. So even though he's born in the U.S., he spent his childhood and growing up in Canada, Quebec.
Hey, Troy.
Yes.
Do you think Les Fresh Prince is from Val-Belair, Quebec?
That's pretty good. I didn't think of that. I'm now disappointed in myself. And again, I'm going to say this. We're going to get into some of his growing up stuff. So just a trigger warning. It's not pretty. It's kind of sad and depressing, but it kind of explains kind of about the man. But anyways, Let's start with the hockey stuff. Brashear was undrafted and signed as a free agent with contract with the Montreal Canadiens in 1992. Brashear played in 1,025 regular season NHL games over a 16-season NHL career. That is pretty good for an undrafted player. Congratulations. Brashear began his career with a little over 3 seasons with the Canadiens. He then played roughly 5 seasons with the Vancouver Canucks. He would then have stops with Philadelphia and Washington before playing his final NHL season with the New York Rangers. For his awards and accomplishments, Josh, no cups, no individual awards, but he does hold some, I don't know what you want to call him. He's been in the top of a statistical category before. We'll just say that.
Yeah.
We'll get back a little bit. Regular season NHL career, 85 goals, 120 assists for 205 points. Brashear made the playoffs in 9 of his 16 NHL seasons, compiling 3 goals, 6 assists for 9 points in 60 NHL playoff games played. Best season of his NHL career from a point standpoint was his 2001-02 season, where Brashear had 9 goals, 23 assists for 32 points in 81 games played with the Vancouver Canucks and Philadelphia Flyers. All right, our boy, everyone knows Brashear was an enforcer during his NHL playing days and was never afraid to play physical or drop the gloves. He was mainly used as protection for his teammates. He was regularly in the NHL lead and sometimes did lead the NHL during a season for penalty minutes during his playing career. He is currently ranked 15th all-time in career penalty minutes with 2,634. He was also known as a tenacious forechecker and would forecheck with speed and deliver fierce body checks. Now, this is one of those guys, those enforcers, I usually say, all these enforcers, usually you go back and look at their minor leagues, they actually could score goals, and no different. He played 3 seasons in the NHL before he became an NHL regular. During that time, he had 59 goals, 40 assists for 99 points in 167 games played. So he was more than a half a point per game player.
Wait, just a little correction there. 3 seasons in the AHL.
What did I say?
NHL.
Oh, sorry. I meant to say in the AHL before he became an NHL regular. All right. Currently, our boy, Josh Brashear, is still playing hockey.
Graybeard. Holy cow.
Graybeard. Listen, I'll say this later, but there's so much stuff on Donald Brashear for like research and files, and we can't begin to touch or scratch the surface with this guy.
There could be like a really good probably book on this guy.
Yeah, I know there's he's been in documentaries and there's a couple athletic articles on him and everything, but it's pretty amazing. So this season, Josh, he's played 24 games with I didn't even try to contact my French translators. It's Jonquiere. Jean-Pierre Marquis in the LNAH, which is the Ligue Nord-Américaine de Hockey.
Okay.
And he's played 10 games with the Wendake Blackjack of the LHSLF, which is the Ligue de Hockey Senior. I just said that like a Spanish.
Du Lac of Fleuve?
Du Lac of Fleuve, I guess. And it's kind of funny with these French names. So the Montreal card show is being like the Toronto Sports X. They're having the Montreal one. I was looking at if I'm free, should I go to it just for like a bounce in, bounce out kind of thing? But then I had to look up, like, could I survive not knowing any French whatsoever in Montreal? And the answer is yes. But they do try to say merci and bonjour and all that fun stuff.
I'm a big fan of acronyms, but you get to 5. That gets a little excessive, isn't it? Like the LHSLF. Yeah. Really?
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. Okay, so that's the basic outline. So now it's gonna be, we're just gonna call this interesting, sad facts, basically. I mean, there's maybe something fun. I can't remember, but we'll get into it. Nicknames: Brash, Huggy, Huggy Bear, and the Don.
Huggy Bear is kind of awesome.
Yeah, I like Huggy Bear. In 2010, the Hockey News named Brashear the Enforcer of the Decade.
Wow.
Yeah. Now, as mentioned earlier, Brashear had an extremely traumatic childhood And I'm getting all this from Wikipedia, which did have links to sources that I did click on to see if they're actually true. So let's just begin. And this kind of explains kind of probably the person that he is. So Bashir's father was an alcoholic who relentlessly abused his family, including slashing Donald with belts and electrical cords. On one occasion, when Bashir was only 6 months old, he picked him up and hurled him through a window.
No way.
Bashir's mom, afraid that Bashir's father might kill her, left the family and returned to Canada. Later, she came back to take the children, but left Bashir to live with his father for another 4 years until Bashir's paternal grandmother sent him to Canada. Bashir eventually moved in with his mother and stepfather. Because of his stepfather's racist attitude, he suffered further abuse in his new surroundings, as he was forced to sleep with a garbage bag tied around his waist to keep him from wetting the bed, and was verbally berated for not being able to tie his shoes. His mother finally decided to give him up to foster care, due in part because of what she called mental problems from the abuse he had suffered. Boy, that's probably an understatement right there, you think? And because
she blamed him for,
I don't know. I didn't get into any of that, but you know, obviously he's got trauma from that.
Of course.
And because he did not accept her as his mother, and so she's saying he's mad at her, which I get, totally get. Bashir lived in 2 different foster homes that sent him away since families believed he was a little too much to handle. At the age of 8, Bashir settled into a new foster home. Once there, he began playing hockey with his new siblings. And to help pay for hockey, Bashir sold baked bread and garbage bags door to door and later became a paper boy. Okay, that's a lot on his child. It's extremely sad, heartbreaking. I know I've read he doesn't talk to anyone in his family besides, I think, either a half brother or a step brother. Like, doesn't talk to the parents anymore. Just has kind of moved on.
Well, he overcame a lot. Shows a lot of perseverance.
Yes, overcame a ton. Like, I don't know, man. That's way too much for a little kid to handle. But yeah. Also, Bashir is part of one of the most infamous on-ice incidences to ever occur in an NHL game. This thing is like seared into my head. I remember.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if I was like watching Sports Center, but I remember this like when it happened. It was crazy. During a February 21st, 2000 Canucks home game against the Boston Bruins, Bashir was involved in a fight with Marty McSorley. Bashir handily won the fight and on his way to the penalty box taunted the Bruins bench. Later in the game, Bashir collided with Bruins goaltender Byron Dafoe, who had to be taken off on a stretcher with a knee injury. For the rest of the game, McSorley was eager for a rematch with Bashir, who refused to fight again. With 4.6 seconds left in the game, McSorley finally swung his stick toward Bashir's head from behind and struck him with a 2-handed slash to the right temple. Bashir collapsed to the ice immediately, with his helmet falling off as the back of his head struck the ice. Suffered a seizure, and the slash resulted in a grade 3 concussion. McSorley was ejected with 2.8 seconds left in the game. McSorley later received an indefinite suspension from the NHL and was charged with assault with a weapon as a result of his action. Hey, guess who else was charged with assault with a weapon? Our boy, Dino Ciccarelli.
Yeah.
In Toronto when he started swinging a stick at whoever it was. I can't remember. But anyways, this McSorley thing was just brutal. Case went to trial in British Columbia. Bashir testified that he had no memory. He doesn't remember anything about the incident. But McSorley was found guilty. He avoided jail, sentenced to 18 months of probation, in which he was not allowed to play in a game against Bashir. Bashir returned to play before the end of the season. McSorley, who missed the remaining 23 games of the regular season, had his suspension officially set at 1 year following the conviction, which basically ended McSorley's career as he never played another NHL game again. Bashir is often asked later if he ever talked to McSorley about the incident, and always responded the same way. He'd say he and McSorley had no relationship prior to it and had no plans to ever speak to each other about what happened. So pretty, I don't know. It's a good answer. Like, hey, I don't want to talk to him about it. We're not friends or anything like that.
Definitely has the right to have that attitude. That's for sure.
Yep, for sure. So yeah, it's just one of the most craziest things ever. Okay, two more facts. This was really cool. Bashir's great uncle, Carl Bashir, was the first African-American to be certified as a master diver in the United States Navy. He was the inspiration for the movie Men of Honor, in which he is portrayed by actor Cuba Gooding Jr. Finally. Oh, this wasn't even a fact. This was me just rambling some more. There's like, if you really want to learn about this guy, go read about him. There's so many like long form articles on Donald Brashear that no way I could cover it all. I barely scratched the surface, but again, fascinating character, fascinating player. But I highly encourage you to go read more if you want to. Okay, here's our boy, his rookie card. There are not many graded cards at all for Donald Brashear. For his rookie card, I went with his 1994-95 Fleer Ultra number 310. PSA 10 Papa 0. There's only 2 graded copies, which I think is the most of any of his. I think there's 3 cards with the RC designation. Of this card, the Fleer Ultra, one is a PSA 9. The other is a PSA 7. I could not find any sales. However, I did find a PSA 9 copy of his 94-95 Donruss number 146. Which sold for $40 US on February 16th of this year via eBay, verified in Terapeak.
You know what says a lot about the early to like very early part of the mid 90s in hockey is hearing you say something like, I went with this card as there's really like no clear rookie cards. It's just a bunch of like rando cards that typically have no value. Where it's a lot easier today where you just go, okay, young guns.
Young guns, yeah.
All right, good job, Donald Brashear. One of the more interesting cases, sad in many ways, scary in some, but holy cow, what a life that guy
has
led. And still,
I didn't even touch the boxing. Like he's gotten to boxing and he got into mixed martial arts for a while. It's just still looks like you could beat the snot out of someone.
Still playing too. How old is he? He's got to be like
51, I think. Something like that.
Crazy. All right, Troy, it's time for another edition of Hobby Deep Dive, where we go in depth on a current NHL player in the hopes to educate ourselves and everyone else about a player prospect that's creating buzz in the hobby. We're back with another playoffs edition. We've selected 4 players that have excelled so far this postseason. Put up another Instagram poll for followers of the show to vote on who they want this week's deep dive to be. Before we get into this week's candidates, so here's a quick look at the vets now that we've done in our Hobby Deep Dive series already. Last one was Jeremy Swayman. We've also done Pasta, Zach Hyman, Quinn Hughes, Draisaitl, Makar, McKinnon, and Elias Pettersson. So I picked 4 candidates this week. Igor Shesterkin, Wyatt Johnston, Matthew Tkachuk, and Artemi Panarin. So 2 Rangers, the Dallas Star, and then Florida Panthers, Matthew Tkachuk. Not even close, Troy.
Landslide.
Not even close.
Landslide.
Yeah, well, we might be having a little Wyatt Johnston hobby moment here, but we'll get into that in a little bit. So that makes this week's Hobby Deep Dive the young up-and-coming Dallas Star, Wyatt Johnston. Wyatt Henry Johnston is 21 years old, comes in at 6'1", 185 pounds, hails from Toronto, Canada. And by 21 years old, Troy, we mean like barely. His birthday was 2 days ago.
Wow.
Just turned 20. So happy birthday, Wyatt Johnston. He is a product of the GTHL, or the Greater Toronto Hockey League. So
how many parents of a GTHL player think their kid is going to make the NHL? Do you think 99% of those kids' parents think that?
Let's break that down because there's like 2,800 teams and 50,000 players. So I'm guessing that about 49,940 would be easily going to be first round picks in the NHL. That's a huge youth hockey
league. Big league.
Man, we think like the Cake Eaters here in Minnesota, Edina, are a big hockey association. It's like a massive, a pretty big town in of itself, or city, 50,000 people. So he played his youth hockey, Troy, with one of the more premier teams of the GTHL, the bougie Toronto Marlboros, and finished his minor career with 48 goals, 48 assists for 94 points in 73 games in 2018-19. That was good enough to make him the 6th overall selection in the 2019 OHL Priority Selection Draft, where he was selected, Troy, by your Windsor Spitfires. Windsor, great town, bad internet, as we learned last episode.
Oh, man.
A little bitter on Windsor right now. Sorry if you're from there. PTSD.
Yeah.
He began his Spitfires career in 2019-20, where he had 12 goals, 18 assists for 30 points in 53 games played before the season was stopped in early 2020 due to the COVID pandemic. Now, this is where it gets kind of interesting because, again, due to COVID, there was no OHL season the next year for 2020-21. But yet, though, Troy, that was his draft year. So he was eligible for the 21 NHL entry draft. It's not probably not ideal. And I'm guessing if you're like a higher end hockey prospect and you're coming into your draft year and then you find out the junior season was canceled, that's bad luck.
Yeah.
Luckily, though, for him, he was able to get some international play in that year, and he did pretty well at the 2021 U18 World Championships, which helped to increase his draft stock. So I went and did some scouting, searching, and tried to get the basic scouting report on Johnston coming into the 2021 draft, and here's kind of a synopsis. So scouts looked at him as a highly skilled center with a strong hockey IQ and good offensive instincts. Johnston was noted for his versatility, strong playmaking abilities, and competitive nature. His vision on the ice and ability to read the game allowed him to be effective in both scoring and creating opportunities for his teammates. He was considered a player with a good all-around game, including solid defensive responsibilities, which made him a well-rounded prospect. Although some scouts had concerns about his skating speed, his intelligence and hockey sense were expected to compensate for any physical limitations. Well, the Dallas Stars ended up taking Johnston 23rd overall in the 2021 NHL entry draft. And you're like, well, this seems like a
family
random
portrait or what?
Yeah, family portrait. Well, again, due to COVID,
that's right.
That whole draft, they put TV crews in people's living rooms and draft parties. And sure enough, you could go right to the Johnston family living room to see when the pick was made. And they must have taken this picture outside shortly after the draft. Well, next season, then Johnston would return to the Spitfires and their bad internet and the OHL for the 2021-22 season. And that's kind of where he broke through. He led the entire CHL that year, Troy, with 124 points, scoring 46 goals, adding 78 assists and 68 games played. So you're feeling pretty good if you're like a Dallas fan then, because you're like, well, gosh, we had to draft all that year and there was no junior season. So we're kind of don't have a lot to go on these guys. And the guy we pick then turns around and leads the CHL in scoring the next year. Pretty good. He also led the OHL for points in the playoffs that season with 41 points and 25 games played. Johnston was then invited to the Stars training camp in 2022-23 and impressed the team enough through the preseason that he made the Stars opening night roster. Would end up making his NHL debut on October 13th, 2022, scored a goal in his first game against UC Saros of the Nashville Predators. Johnston was very young, starting his rookie season at just 19 years old, and one of the only very few Stars to ever make their debut with the team in their teens. I think like Miro Heiskanen did it in like 2017 or 2018, and then you had to go back to like Jamie Langenbrunner, who was from Cloquet, Minnesota, back in the early 90s. So it was a pretty big deal for him to start with the team as such a young guy, bypass the AHL entirely. There's a lot of articles about his rookie season that were written because he lived with veteran Joe Pavelski, who we talked about on last show. And I think that was pretty instrumental from a mentorship role and kind of making him feel comfortable away from home. And I think that's one really cool thing about hockey is that you get these older guys that it's very Mario Lemieux very famously took Sidney Crosby under his wing when he was very young, etc. Well, Johnston would finish his rookie season with 21 goals, 17 assists for 41 points. His 24 goals, tied Matty Beniers for most goals by a Calder eligible rookie that season, but Johnston would finish 5th in Calder voting. He was, though, Troy, named to the NHL All-Rookie team as a forward with Beniers and Matthias Michelli. So he's kind of a little bit under the radar, even last year. Scored a lot of goals, but 5th in Calder voting, I thought was pretty interesting. This season, though, Johnston took another step forward and asserted himself as a solid offensive contributor, of course, for a very talented Stars team. In 82 games played, so he upped his production from rookie year of 24 goals to 32 goals. And then this year added another 30 assists for 62 points. And again, he just turned 21, so he's 20 basically all season. And then he's found another gear so far in the playoffs, producing 7 goals, 4 assists for 11 points in 11 games played. And been one of the Stars, I think, better offensive contributors so far this postseason. In the Stars' 5-1 Game 4 win over the Avalanche the other night, Johnston scored 2 goals and added an assist. So he also tied a Wayne Gretzky playoffs record, Troy, by scoring a power play and shorthanded goal in the same game before age 21, which I kind of is cool. But it's like, this is like one of those, I call it like a stretch record where like a PR department will find the most convoluted, like, he's the first player to score a goal after crossing over left 4 times, then right 7 times, then spinning 3 times and waving to his mom in the stands, right? Kind of thing. But that being said, though, anytime you share any sort of record with 99, that's a good thing in my mind. Well, after their last game, Dallas coach Pete DeBoer gushed about Johnston. Here's what he had to say. He was all over the rink, just fantastic, a fantastic young hockey player that is going to be a cornerstone. And I have no doubt he will wear a letter probably sooner than later for this franchise. Just an incredible kid. Jeez.
Well, I'm going to start calling him the captain anyways. Captain.
Cappy.
Oh, my Cappy.
So it kind of leads you now to the hobby, where we've talked pretty much endlessly at this point, Troy, about how disappointing the 2022-23 hobby class has been. Do we now maybe have somewhat of an unexpected star brewing here? And pardon the pun, I guess, with Wyatt Johnston?
Maybe, but I hope not, because then the box prices will go up again. 22-23 stuff's like falling off a cliff, so.
You have to wonder, too, if there's something about his personality or his style, or maybe he's just still so young and hasn't achieved. Because I kind of feel like the hobby needs somebody to save this class. And so it's either going to take like the Matty Beniers comeback story or our guy Slavkovsky to take another leap in year 3. But maybe it could be Wyatt Johnston. Could he be the diamond in the rough? And the little opening I'm seeing is it's been really, really quiet this year on the whole like J-Rob hobby buzz front. So we talk about all the time how you can only really have like one star per team. And maybe the shine is fading a little bit on J-Rob. And I don't know, could Johnston end up being the guy? I kind of get him and Stankoven mixed up because I tend to think that I know like Logan Stankoven is like teeny tiny, itty bitty, like what, 5'7" or something like that. And Johnston's he's not real heavy, but he's what, 6'1", something like that. So
6'1", 185.
It's not that tiny. But I don't know. What do you think? Could he be a hobby star? Or
well, I think so.
Really,
I mean, it's not going to take a lot from this rookie class to separate yourself, hopefully. And if he keeps performing like he is in the playoffs and Dallas keeps moving on, what's their series at right now? I don't even know. I can't remember.
Is it 2-2?
I think so. That sounds about right. We'll go with that. And if we're wrong, oh well. But yeah, he's definitely making a case for himself to be a hobby breakout star.
Well, his hobby market is heating up quite a bit. It's hard to tell when you're like in the middle of it, but we're either close to or starting what I would call a Wyatt Johnston hobby moment, like a breakout. So we'll take a little bit of a look here, Troy. So Johnston is a 2022-23 Young Guns, PSA 10, pop 461, 34% gem rate, so pretty low gem rate. PSA 10 lasts over $256 on May 13th. Anytime you get north of 250, it means that there's some steam on that player in the hobby. So on May 1st, Troy, this card was selling for $155. Wow. That is a 65-ish% increase in about 2 weeks. Had you bought this card at the beginning of the season, it would have costed you about 125 US. So it's more than double since the beginning of the season. Should we just pause for everyone to go dig in their boxes and find
Start finding them,
find their Wyatt Johnston
cards.
Young Guns and list them on whatever platform you sell on?
Yeah, exactly.
Time to list those Johnston cards. It is heating up hobby wise. Like we do in these hobby deep dives, we'll also take a look at the higher end of the Johnston market, where nothing too crazy so far, but we'll look at the top 5 selling cards to date, along with each's respective top sale. So again, if it's all like high, we're not gonna do like 4 high gloss cards. We'll just give the top sale. All eBay sales have been verified as paid for in Terapeak. That's how we roll here, Troy. All right, let's look at the number 5 is a 2022-23 SP Authentic Future Watch Auto out of $9.99 inscribed raw that has that October 13th debut date where he scored a goal against UC Saros, as we talked about. This sold for $749 US on November 4th, 2023 via eBay. At number 4, coming in at $1 more, a 2022-23 Upper Deck Young Guns Acetate PSA 10. They didn't have a photo, so I had to find a raw one here. So for $750 US on April 18th, 2023, more than a year ago, via eBay. Number 3 sale, Troy, 2022-23 Upper Deck Young Guns Speckled Rainbow Foil PSA 10. Sold for $800 US on May 7th via eBay. So $50 more when that's the PSA 10, but
yeah.
100 times over 100, I'm choosing a Young Guns Acetate over Speckled Rainbow Foil, aren't you?
Yeah, agree 100%. I just noticed this picture makes it look like a 16-bit in the background. I've never really seen a picture like this of the speckled rainbows.
Well, it's probably whatever exposure they used on the camera.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Number 2 sale, well, I guess 3 and 2 are sort of tied for 2. They're both $800. So it's a 2022-23 SP Authentic Flop. Future Watch Auto Patch Flop out of 100 raw. Sold for $800 US on November 13th. I like this photo. It's like he's looking at his patch going, whoa.
Or do you think he's saying, man, can we got a better patch? Maybe a couple more colors in there, please? Gold and some green would be nice.
Green, yeah, missing green. Yeah, it's like 3 colors, but it's missing the 2 best ones.
I guess they don't have gold on that jersey.
No, yeah. They ditched that when they left us.
Thieves.
It's like once an episode now. We have to get bitter over that. Then the number 1 sale, Troy, is the 2022-23 Upper Deck Young Guns High Gloss out of 10. So for $1,400 US via eBay on April 19th.
This will be in your data set for when you do your research project on regular Young Guns versus base Young Guns versus Outburst Silvers after we give it a year to breathe.
So there you go, Troy. The Wyatt Johnston Hobby Deep Dive is in the books. We learn anything?
We learned that I need to go through my spreadsheet and make sure I don't have any of these hanging around. I don't think I do, but
you know what else you got to look at is who's like all the third string goalies that are popping off, like the Silvos guy from the Canucks.
Pickard, man. I didn't even know that guy was for Edmonton.
Is it Picard or Pickard or
I don't know what it is.
Yeah,
I'm so gun shy on names that I just give up. Like Calvin, I'll call him Calvin because I think that's his first name. Like he used to be on Nashville and he'd always be on Pekka cards. Like if they had dual ones when he was with Pekka, he was always the other guy on the couple of the duo cards.
It's Calvin, Troy.
Just Calvin.
My strategy with names is I just say as many versions as I can possibly think of and hope one is right. Yeah, I'm gonna go with that. Well, there you go, Wyatt Johnston. Hobby Deep Dive. Yeah. All right, got to make a quick mention for Gongshow partner and sponsor Slab Sharks. We are thankful to them for their support of our show. Troy, the current Slab Sharks weekly eBay auction is live, ends tonight. Be sure to head to slabsharks.com for a link to the auction to place your bids. Tons of great cards ending, and these auctions are so big now with so many cards. It's almost impossible not to find you covet.
There's a bunch, and there's a bunch of bangers in this thing. Like I remember because we did some previews of them. And boy, I mean, I'm just looking at this is the Slab Sharks website where they list them all. And I think they put 100 per page and there's 2,370 items. And that's not, I don't have it sorted by hockey or anything, but Tons of stuff.
I'd say it's probably what 80% hockey.
Yeah, it's a good chunk is hockey.
Have you bookmarked any?
Yes, and I can't even remember what they are now that you asked me. Yes, I have, but I
Okay.
bookmarked them in eBay. So
Well, maybe you can compete and make Troy spend more money for the cards he wants tomorrow night. I'm sure the sellers would love that. And if you do miss the auction, it's okay. Don't be sad. As soon as one ends, the next begins. So, and there's probably 2,000 more cards next week to choose from. Slapshot's Troy has quickly become a Canadian hobby institution. Yes. Because they make it very easy for collectors to sell their cards on eBay. Well, they make it super easy. You just send them your cards or drop them off at a show and they do the rest. Plus, as I've already mentioned, their auctions have become a pretty big thing, or a moment, as the kids would like to say. Gotta check a movie, I guess. Get your popcorn, your wallet, and get some sweet hockey cards.
Yeah.
Troy, we have just about 2 weeks left in their Bedard promo, where Slapsharks is offering a 98% payout rate. So hurry, get them in fast. And then be sure to head to slapsharks.com for complete consignment information, including payout rates, and to start the consignment process today. Hobby news!
Hobby news.
Well, Road to Infinity,
All
where
right.
we track the growth of Connor Bedard Young Guns PSA 10, has risen pretty dramatically, I would say, since the release of Series 2 on March 6th. So we're nearing, what, 2.5 months? Wait, yeah.
I know we're not using this, but hey. This kind of fits right here. The road to money.
Yeah, there we go. Well, that's for our next story.
I know.
Yeah. On our last update, we saw the PSA 10 pop count rise to just under 2,400. That was what, 3 or so days ago now? So let's see where we're up to right now. And as of this morning, check the reports. The pop count for the Bedard Young Guns PSA 10 now up to Troy 2,476. That is a incremental growth of 83 PSA 10 since our last show a few days ago. A total of 5,527 have now been graded for a continued gem rate of 44.7%, which is identical to what it was at the last update. It looks like we're pacing right around 3,000 by your PSA 10s by the end of the month. You had guessed 2,800. I guess 3,200. We'll equally be wrong. Just pretty usual. Okay, now I'll throw up my nice picture.
There we go.
Yeah. So, media. Well, you have no vowels, right? The English language is pretty dependent on vowels, right?
Yeah. So collect.
Commissioned a poll through Seton Hall, Troy.
Okay. Big university.
Yeah. And according to they wanted to find out, are sports cards considered a financial investment by Americans?
Okay. So
they found out that 46% of the general population, 56% of sports fans, and 68% of avid sports fans said they do consider sports memorabilia collecting to be a financial investment. So does 46% of the general population, does that surprise you that they consider sports memorabilia an investment?
Yeah, that does, because I feel like the general population are the people that are like, oh, those are silly, stupid things that kids deal with. But I'm more surprised that
wait, are you talking about our wives?
Yeah, no kidding. I think I'm more surprised by only 68% of avid sports fans, because I gotta believe those are the ones that know about cards and know about them. That seems low to me, but whatever.
Mm-hmm.
What do I know?
In addition, Troy, this kind of surprised me too. According to the research, 4 of 10 sports fans say they are actively collecting sports memorabilia.
I would have guessed. That doesn't surprise me.
That doesn't?
No.
That's a lot of people.
Yeah, I think it's just something, like, I don't know. I don't know how to generalize this without being biased to myself, but it's like, you think how else you connect yourself to your teams, and that's how you do it, besides going to the game.
Mm-hmm. I wonder too if it's maybe a lasting impact of the pandemic sports boom.
Yeah.
Where that sort of introduced the idea of, with all these record sales and so on and so forth, as sports memorabilia as a financial investment. This doesn't surprise me when you look at the demographic breakdown. So the group that's most likely to view memorabilia as a financial investment are 18 to 34-year-olds.
Mm-hmm.
Now, they also ask people what's collected the most. So sports cards is number one at 54% of sports collectors are into cards. So a lot of room to grow there. Followed by autographs and then some sort of equipment like helmets or like a baseball or football sort of thing. Then game used jerseys, and then finally sneakers kind of rounds out what's collected most. Anything in that order surprise you?
Sneakers, because the general sneaker market is massive, right? Not the collectible sneakers, but just the year or whatever new stuff comes out, they sell like nuts.
Travis Scott.
Yeah, there you go.
Dunks. My daughter, Dad, I need dunks. I need like
okay.
I need the Gray Wolf dunks or whatever I don't know, whatever she says. So when you see information and study results like this, does it lead you at all maybe to think that the hobby could be bigger than we think it is? We tend to think of it as like teeny tiny little thing that's niche and dirty and we're just a bunch of dorks. But could we be cooler than we think?
I think it's got more room to grow. That's what this leads me to think.
Okay. I don't know. How do you think personally? So just, do you think sports cards are a financial investment?
Yes. Completely, 100%. Do I use it as a financial investment? No. But they totally are if that's the way you want to go about it. I mean, we've heard sometimes that they're inflation, they're like a hedge, right, against inflation.
Alternative
class of investment. But they're totally, to me, an investment or a financial instrument. But do I use them that way? No.
I think they are too, but what bothers me about it is so many people see it as a get rich quick scheme.
Yeah.
And with the last, almost 2 years now, this show has taught me, boy, we're coming up on 2 years, aren't we?
We might have passed it.
Really?
Yeah, weren't we like middle of May or something?
Oh, happy anniversary, Troy. I forgot our anniversary already. It's only been 2 years.
Troy. I'll look it up while you talk and tell me why.
I think it's like May 21st, I want to say.
Oh.
Where was I? Oh. So many people see it as like a get rich quick scheme. And what I've learned is you can make money if you know what you're doing. So many people, though, are reckless in the sense that they're naive and they think, oh, I'm going to spend $5,000 in a Connor Bedard Young Guns and it's going to be worth $100,000.
Yeah.
Then it's worth $700 2 months later. Right. So part of me gets worried when people consider it a financial investment because, like I said, you really have to know what you're doing. And then there's a lot of variables, just like any sort of investment vehicle that are completely out of your control. Because actually, it's like the more, I don't know how you feel about this, but the more I've learned and the more I've observed people that make money on these cards, it's actually pretty kind of boring from a collecting standpoint. It's like Wayne Gretzky. There you go.
More Wayne Gretzky.
Yeah, and more Wayne Gretzky, and then sprinkle a little Gordie Howe in there, and there you go. Right? Sit on it for 12 years, and now you've made decent money. But people want the young hotshot rookie that I'm going to buy for $500 now, and it's going to be $50,000 next year. And I can't think of any cases where that's happened. So, all right. Last part of hobby news. This kind of is baffling and bothering me. So the World Championships are going on, Troy.
Okay.
I'm going to have a couple questions to start this conversation for you. Number one, is it smart to have the Hockey World Championships during the NHL playoffs when literally nobody cares?
I've said this many times. The IIHF is terrible. They are a horrible organization. They don't know how to run. They don't care. That's the thing. I shouldn't say they know how to run a tournament. They don't care when they do it or how much attention is drawn to their thing. They just do not care about anyone else except their little tournament. And I think that they're a horrible organization.
I assume now we're not going to retire off of IIHF
I don't
sponsorship.
think they're gonna sponsor us anytime soon, are they?
Question number 2. Do you think the IIHF hired the guy that designs Happy Meal boxes to make this logo? What is this?
I think it's supposed to be a smiley puck or something.
It's a smile. It's a happy hockey puck.
Happy hockey puck in Czechia.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
And you have been very aggressive, Troy. And you're not you kind of play it pretty much down the middle in most things, but when it comes to Upper Deck logo placement and certain other logo hockey brands and IHF, you have no fear in.
I have enough experience with the IHF to know they just don't care. They just don't care. They don't.
I'm starting to get it. Like, wouldn't after the Stanley Cups and maybe right before the Summer Olympics be like a perfect time for this? Like when everyone's kind of, oh, I miss hockey. Oh, I get. No,
that's when like section or group A or E of or F where they have that's where the Saudi Arabias and Poland's and all these like up and coming places, they have their tournament after all this. So it's a process. It's like a 3-month ordeal to get all these in. But again, it's the IHF. They do what they do and shake your head.
It might be different if you're in Canada or Europe, but you can hardly tell it's happening here in America, Troy.
Yeah.
Well, like, is it on TV? I don't even know.
I think it's probably on the NHL Network. If not, you can go to one thing the USA Hockey site. If you find it, they're pretty good at is find the World Junior team page, and they will have a schedule with the link to wherever it's available for streaming.
And here's why it stinks too, because there's some big names, that are participating. Connor Bedard, you ever heard of him, Troy? Is he good?
Yes, he's doing pretty well.
I heard on a podcast he's pretty good. Well, he's got 5 goals and an assist in 3 games played. Other names like Owen Power has joined Bedard and Team Canada, as well as John Tavares.
Yeah.
The Dillons, Troy, Cousins, and Gunther.
Yep.
On Team Canada. And even PLD made the trip across the pond to ruin Canada's team chemistry.
Why would they want him? Like, I don't know. Whatever. He's probably got 10 goals too.
If you watch on YouTube, there's this picture of Cole Sillinger, and I can't make up my mind if he's going to high five him or punch him in the face.
Just drop him.
Amazing. And then on the USA side, Troy, somehow Johnny Hockey made Team USA. How'd that happen? I wonder if that's like asking someone to prom and hoping that they don't find out that you were already turned down 6 times by cuter girls.
Oh, geez.
Like Johnny Hockey is, what would he be, like the 25th choice for Team USA at this point?
Oh, PLD's like carrying the team. What's he doing? 3 games, 2 goals, 2 assists. Jeepers.
Boy, better sign him.
Hey, LA,
better sign him to an extension. 12 million average annual value. Well, if you're not familiar, there's 16 countries participating in the tournament. 2 preliminary groups of 8. The top 4 teams after the preliminary stage move on to the knockout rounds, quarterfinals. So right now, Troy, in Group A, Canada is in first place, followed by Switzerland, Finland, and Czechia. And then in Group B, we have Sweden taking the top spot, followed by Latvia, Slovakia, and then USA. USA better be careful. They're the international darlings going to win the gold medal. Are they not going to even make the quarterfinals of the World Championships?
Yeah, what's happening? Sally got upset. Well, I can't remember who beat it. Was it?
I think the last 5 for the lap.
Or Slovakia? Maybe Slovakia.
You watch any of the tournament? Will you watch something like this or no?
No, it's because it's crazy times, and I just.
We'll see what happens. Like, it's just a great opportunity to get people excited about players and their hockey cards, and they couldn't put it at a worse time.
Yep.
So congratulations, you've failed at a spectacular level.
Yeah, IHF. Thanks, man.
Okay, well, some big unveiling today, Troy. Coming 2023-24 extended series, where we saw for the first time publicly the designs for the much anticipated Connor Bedard Young Guns canvas. This card is a different concept from a standard card. We'll get to it in a minute when we talk to Billy. Normally these a card like this would be like an action shot of the player or a portrait, which I don't love, but there's some good ones too. But because this card is so unique, we wanted to know the story behind how it came about.
Yep.
So we invited Billy Celio from Upper Deck on earlier today to give us the story behind the Bedard Young Guns canvas. And I can only imagine that everyone will have an opinion on this card. So like I just said, I think it's good to understand the reasons why or the story behind the card, so you can maybe help you make that determination if it's a card that you ultimately want to add to your collection. So without further ado, here's our conversation from earlier today with Billy Celio. All right, welcome back to the show for about the, I don't know, umpteenth time. Is that a good way to put it, Billy? Billy Celio from Upper Deck.
Seems like it. Seems like it.
It is the northern Minnesotan in me, umpteenth, right? That's something you'd only hear on the Iron Range if you're familiar with that area. Well, we had you back today because got a little, or started to hear of this morning that the preview for the Connor Bedard Young Guns canvas, which will be out in extended series next month, started to make its rounds all over the internet. Now, there had been a card that was on the sell sheets that was this design right here, but we had sort of known that it's probably not the real design that's coming out, and then this morning it sort of came out that here's the actual Bedard Young Guns canvas. And the reason why we wanted to have you on, Billy, was because it's a unique concept. It's kind of cool, and wanted to get a little bit of the story behind it. So first, welcome, and then can't wait to talk about this card.
Thanks, Josh. Great to be back. You know what? There were a number of things that were planned ahead of time for Connor Bedard's rookie year, um, and things that we wanted to do and try. And there's still some stuff that you guys haven't seen yet. One of the ideas and concepts was the Canvas Young Gun card. Now, what Canvas cards are synonymous for is unique photography.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not going to say that this is the first time anyone's ever been have that's had their own card in their hand for a card. It's been done. It has been done before. I can't remember what it was. I remember a baseball card had that before.
Okay.
But it's just an interesting concept. Obviously, a big deal was Connor Bedard's Young Gun coming out in Series 2. And so we were just like, well, how can we make a unique card? And it just kind of, something hasn't been done in a while, something very unique, something that basically just defines Canvas. So we decided to have an image of Connor Bedard holding his own Young Gun on his Young Gun Canvas card.
When did this idea come about?
This came out probably before he was even drafted. Like I said,
Okay.
this, we build these products. Believe it or not, and you probably didn't expect to hear this. I am currently working on 25-26 Series 1. If
Wow.
that gives you an idea of how far ahead some of this stuff has to be built, this is a product for a season that hasn't even happened yet.
Mm-hmm.
That is what I'm working on the outline and the structure of right now. So these sort of things, these sort of ideas and stuff have to be already thought of beforehand. And this was in my brief, like the specific direction. Our photo team was all on board, and I think we were able to accomplish what I was looking for.
Was there an internal debate over trying something versus more just like a standard in action photo or portrait?
Um, well, I don't necessarily know if it was a bait. I believe the idea was told to a number of people, and nobody said no. So
There you go.
they went with my idea and my concept.
A card like this though has to have a specific photo shoot, because normally you can use images from like contract photographers or other photography you guys get access to during a game or a event or something like that. So I'm assuming you guys had to plan this specific card and get Bedard and the NHL on board with the two to have a very specific photo taken for it. Am I correct there?
I'm not sure how much the NHL gets involved, but yes, it was definitely something that the photo department had to execute, and I think they did a very good job doing it. And I was talking to our head photographer, and basically even in our brief, like, explained it in detail, and he was good enough to even come to me when they were ready to do everything, to just kind of make sure they're doing everything that we were hoping for. And as I said, they captured the moment.
Mm-hmm. Did you go to the photo shoot too, or no?
I don't get to go to any of that. I've never been to the draft. I've never been to any of the photo shoots. I don't really get to do much of that. I don't think I've been to an all-star game or any of those like outdoor games and stuff. They send me to conventions because that's where I'll get to talk and see the people that I don't need to talk to the players. I need to talk to the buyers.
Sounds like a zoo there. Like they keep you locked in a cage and just like come up with cards, Billy. Don't
No,
we'll
we
feed you three
we
times a day.
we get out every now and then. But every I we just I just saw you at the Spring
You
Expo, and
did. Yeah.
my job wasn't necessarily to work the booth. My job was to walk around, talk to all the dealers, kind of get a feel for what's going well, what's not going well, and what's hot, what's not, what, you know, bounce ideas off of them. They bounce ideas off of me. You really got to talk to, my target audience, basically.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So, did somebody teach Bedsy about like edge care and corner care when he had it in between the glove there? That looks a little. I don't know if that's going to grade very well,
Yeah,
Billy.
you know what? Didn't PSA just have players put
Yeah.
trading cards in their pockets and sliding into second base and stuff? So, yeah, I don't know if it's going to get the best of grades.
Are you guys going to have like players like tape cards to their visor or something like that? Are we going to?
That'd be great. Or wrestlers or some. There's so many different. That just opened up a bag of ideas when we saw that video. But uh, yeah, nothing yet. Nothing yet.
Were you happy with how it turned out?
Yeah, I really enjoy it, and I've seen some mixed reactions. Like I said, it's not your normal canvas card. But
Yeah.
that's the whole point of canvas. It's not, it's unique imagery. And I think for the definition of canvas and what we want out of it, a unique photo, something that's like kind of never seen very often. I think this hits the nail on the head. So yes, I'm very happy with it, and you're gonna get your boo birds that come out. It's
Sure.
kind of a funny trend. It starts off, someone sees it and then they don't like it, then everybody jumps on that bandwagon, and then all of a sudden someone will be like, you know what, I actually do like it. This is unique, and then someone else will jump on that bandwagon, and it's just it goes back and forth. I mean, they're talking about it. I think it's a cool concept. Some people might not love it. Some people didn't like the horizontal McDavid. I know that's been brought up by some of the
Hmm.
comments and stuff, but it's still a nice looking card, and I think this is a nice looking card also.
Well, it is a high risk, high reward concept. So I assume that you had to expect a little bit of that. It's like you could have totally played it safe with this card and gone with like a quote unquote traditional sort of canvas design, but uh, nothing ventured, nothing gained, right?
I have learned that there is not a single insert that I have made in the 10 years I've been at Upper Deck that someone hasn't not liked something.
Hmm.
Um, Troy gave an insert I really like to see, I think, in one of your last
Ooh,
videos. So, it might, but it's not his cup of tea. And then he gave other things an A. So,
yeah.
some people are going to have. I'm not calling out Troy because I think you might have
Oh
given it
no,
a
no,
B
do it.
plus.
Keep calling him out. He loves it.
But I think just to each their own, and that's one of the joys of building something like Series One that I'm doing right now, or Extended, or Series Two. It's you've got a large amount of people. It's got one of the biggest collecting bases. You have the high end buyers, you have the set collectors, you have the, the rippers and flipper. Like this set like basically satisfies everyone's needs.
Mhm.
And but not everyone has the same type. Not every type of collector collects the same sort of thing, likes the same sort of thing. So
Yeah.
yes, it appeases to all the different types of collectors, but they still have different opinions on what they collect.
Now, I think that makes sense. And I also imagine too that to be like a person like yourself in your job, that you almost have to take the mindset of just trying to have as little fear or think of the public perception, or try not to, I guess, in a lot of cases, because if you just tried to design something that you thought everyone would like, that you would sort of everything would be real homogenized at that point, and you would never try anything new. And I've said this a million times, but I'm more of a big fan of let's just try a whole bunch of stuff, because sometimes you get those some things won't work, and but other times you'll find the diamond in the rough that you never maybe would have if you were too afraid to take chances.
Oh, that's definitely happened many times where it's just like, okay, let's try this, and then it comes out that people like it a lot more than I anticipated. Um, the Deep Roots card is a great example. I found a
Hmm.
lot of people like that card a
Tons
lot more
did.
than I anticipated, to be honest with you. And it's because it's like, hey, let's try soft touch on this. Let's use some deco foil on soft touch and see how it comes out. And I thought it came out really cool. And but I didn't expect as much positive feedback about it, just because it didn't look like your average Series One card, to be honest with you. So when that card got the love, that's exactly what you're talking about. I think something cool that you guys had mentioned in your previous show, when you were grading stuff, you really didn't get to see like all the designs. And I even messaged you like the gaming set, the gamers.
Hmm.
One of the things that's really unique about that set is there's a lot of like unique photography that, how often do you see a player's back and field of view like on a trading card? You rarely see that. It's almost like a rule. Don't show the player's
Yeah.
back unless you're trying to hide, a logo like a Spurs logo or something like
Yeah.
that. You
Yeah.
don't
Like unlicensed stuff.
Yes, you don't show the players back. And there's some really like I've got plenty of friends that play, video games, and we have video game licenses, and it's just like there's some really unique imagery playing video games. I'm like, and let's try to do that in the hockey card. And again, our photographer. So what does he do? He sends out, emails or does it himself. And now they're taking images of players from behind, so they can fit the need of that specific insert.
Hmm. Well, I've noticed too, like one of the things with Canvas that's kind of interesting from a secondary market perspective is that when a set first, like, and this is more like in like series one or series two, even when the set is released, the canvas card is typically valued a little bit more than the base Young Guns. But then as time goes on, that sort of flips, and the canvas becomes, as a percentage of value of the base Young Guns, sort of less and less. Like you look at like a McDavid base versus a McDavid canvas. I mean, McDavid canvas still has a lot of value, but it's about half or so what the base Young Guns is. And so I wonder, the possibility of a card like this, given it is a little bit unique, it is a little bit different, if kind of down the road collectors will look at it differently and maybe more uniquely than just maybe a kind of the expected Young Guns canvas card of Connor Bedard.
I'll give you a great example, and I completely agree with what you're saying about the canvas. Like it starts off higher, which is odd because they're actually rarer than the regular
Hmm.
young guns, obviously. But I think a lot of it has to do with the desire to have that young gun as years go on. But what I'll say is, look at McDavid's second year, and I don't have the stats, but I'm gonna guess that McDavid's second year canvas sells for more, obviously, than his second year base card. And yes, I know it's not a rookie card, but I
Sure.
think a big reason of that is we use the triple exposure imagery where it's like him. I think it's even more than 3, but like him like
Yeah.
throughout the process of shooting, and it's just a really cool looking card and very unique. We've done it before, but that type of those type of cards you can't do them all the time. Otherwise, then they just kind of lose the what's cool about them. Um, but his second year canvas card sells for extremely more
Hmm.
than his regular base card, if I'm correct. I only know this because I think I pulled one in on EPAC and I still have it and I still get some trades. And
Nice.
so I always look to see what it's at because people always try to lowball me on trades. But so that would be an example where you're saying I think the uniqueness of the imagery could potentially down the road help the value of it.
Yeah, well, again, I'm happy to see something different, and there's going to be tons of Bedard rookies, and I think that there have been a number of, like, going back to the NHL Draft SP and Series One, and some of the other cards that we're seeing. I figure, what are we even like halfway through the 2023-24 releases now? We can't be
We got Trilogy came out today.
today.
We've already had SP game used. We're moving faster. I can say that much. I,
Yeah.
I think we're probably like 40% in, maybe.
Okay.
Because I think obviously you have all the high end and hard sign stuff. You have stuff like Ice and SPX, and then there's a few. Yeah, I'd say maybe 40% of the way in, maybe even less.
Okay. Well, cool. Good job on the card. Anything else big going on? You want to break any news? It's just nobody's listening, nobody's watching. Don't worry. It's just me and you, Billy.
That's right.
Just
Oh, so now I can talk about the Bedard. There will be a Bedard SP in series. Oh wait, that already happened. Never
Oh
mind.
yeah.
My
Yeah.
bad. He will be in series 1. We already gave that one away.
We're gonna talk about Macklin Celebrini Easter eggs next year, or
Right.
what are we talking about?
I hope there's a lot of yeah, I hope there's a lot of Sharks fans out there. I'll tell you what, we had like 3 or 4 people wearing Sharks jersey on the day of the lottery. So,
Mhm.
um, you know, uh
Well, I
I
have a
guess
theory. Do
there
you
are
want to hear
some
my
out there.
theory?
I'm listening. Please don't say he's going to go back to college.
He's if Will Smith doesn't come to the Sharks, there's no way he comes, and so they both go back to college, and that's not going to be super great for the 2024-25 releases. And I think had Chicago gotten the number 1 pick, that Celebrini 100% would have gone straight to the NHL.
I understand what you're saying. I don't know how much money these guys make NIL for hockey. What I can say is you're holding yourself back an extra year for that first deal to then get your next deal. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm intrigued about that. But we had what Cooley went back to college another year one time and or just recently. And then we had obviously I don't like to talk about Michigan hockey because I'm a Michigan State fan.
Me neither. I'm a
Um,
Gophers fan.
yeah, so you know what I'm talking about. But they had a few guys that stuck around so they could win a championship. Didn't quite work out for them, but they did that. So we will see. I hope he decides that hey, it's a great idea to come out as quick as possible. I hope the same for Will Smith. We are already licking our chops if they both come out. Some of the dual autographs or whatnot we could
Oh
do,
yeah, be amazing.
and I think they could probably have a little fun with some inscriptions, especially if they're both on the same card with a little Boston U and a Boston College rivalry inscriptions on there. That might be fun. But
Sharks
yeah,
logos make great patches too.
oh yes, yes. That there's a few very highly desirable parts of that shark that people would definitely want to see in product.
Was Synergy's not your set, is it?
It is not.
Okay. Yeah. So we've got a little bit of a break for, I guess, Memorial Day weekend here in the US, graduation season, all that good stuff. And then we have Synergy on the 5th, and then this extended comes out on the 12th. Anything, in case we don't get a chance to talk to you before extended, really quickly, anything else in extended that you're super excited about that you want to pump?
look, this extended is extended, and it's been this way for a while, and I think this is going to be the first year that people actually because they recognize it and see it.
Mhm.
Extended is not about necessarily the young gun content, although obviously we have a strong young gun crop in this year's extended. It's a lot of inserts, a lot of vintage designs, a lot of takes on vintage designs, a lot of rookie content using iconic upper deck designs and recreating iconic upper deck designs. And so the the amount of Bedard content in there is going to be quite strong, along with a number of the other top rookies from this class. So whether you get like the top young gun, it's great if you do, but you also have the opportunity to get a lot of other really cool cards. And I think this is going to be the first year in a while. I don't want to say in a while, but this will probably be the first year that I think there'll be more attention finally put on those additional cards and that additional
Mhm.
content to the set. Because usually everyone just looks at the young gun checklist and says, "Oh, well, there's not many young guns in there." When in fact the purpose of it is really to get a lot of rookie content, get a lot of affordable rookie cards for consumers that might not necessarily be able to afford,
Mhm.
the amount of money that a Connor Bedard young gun costs right now. But there's still a lot of really other cool rookie content that they can get Connor Bedard cards in.
I have a real specific question. So in the past couple of years, you guys have sort of balanced out not wanting to put 50 young guns in extended by adding the additional like first round pick card for which is more of a portrait style for the number of players. Are
Yeah.
you doing that again this time?
So of the three times that we've built extended, two out of the three times we were not able to hit 50 young guns. So we've decided that we will continue with the 30 young guns and the 20 um, the 20 first round pick cards.
Okay, so
It's
here's my
just
question
yeah,
about that. How do you have a Bedard one of those when you already had the SP NHL draft pick in series 1?
it's
Too
a different
similar?
design. There's how
Okay.
many he's gonna have a bunch of cards that say he's a
I
first
know.
round pick.
Okay. And then I have another just last specific question. We remembered Leo Carlson, right?
Yes, yes, he'll
Said
be in there.
too soon.
He'll be in there. You got to understand some of these sets, like I'm mentioning right now, are built very early in the year,
I know.
and what's unfortunate is there are some sets that you have to kind of I don't want to call them dart throws, but you gotta
Sure.
like hope that they skate or don't skate, and specific sets were built before some people skated, and so we weren't able to get them in at that
Gotcha.
certain time.
I understand that. All right. So no other breaking news, no other big time secrets, no huge announcements, anything
I
like that.
asked the question in your mailbag. Did it get
Yeah, I
answered? I didn't listen that far. I listened to your
well,
review of Series 1. I
that's
didn't listen
heartbreaking.
all the way to the end.
Yeah. Yeah, we did answer it. So
I don't need to know the greatest player that wore 86. See,
well, I mean,
I heard that.
there's a lot you could learn from mailbag and a lot you could learn from other people's questions. So I would highly recommend that you go back and listen to it. And but I'll save you the time. Your question was what? You're like, oh, what month would Billy be?
I said if
And
you guys made a calendar, or
yeah,
if Upper Deck had made a calendar, what month should I be in the calendar?
and my answer was that you would be January. Why do you think?
Well, first, I'm happy that you picked a month with 31 days because I was just like, I would hope that, I would be up there the maximum amount of days that I could be in uh, on
Mm,
someone's wall there. But um, Jan- I don't know but why did you pick January?
because it's the coldest month and you're too cool to hang out with us at the expo.
Oh, dude, you guys had your own pad, like one of those like
Yeah,
TikTok
Chateau
pad things
Gongshow,
where
dude. Chateau Gongshow.
you
Yeah,
guys were busy making content and
yeah.
all that if you guys got your computers to work. But
Oh, we have bigger plans too for fall. So if you play your cards right, Billy, you'll get an invite.
Woo! Well, I do get a lot of invites at the
I know.
expo.
A lot of helicopter rides, state dinners, black tie, tuxedo affairs.
I got to have dinner. Oh my gosh, I'm drawing a blank on his name now. The Zamboni driver goalie.
Oh, the e-bug,
Is that
the
the who?
emergency, the
Yeah,
emergency backup goalie.
yeah. The one we made a young gun of him. I
Oh
can't
yeah,
believe I'm
yeah.
drawing a blank. But I got to have dinner with him. It was so. You know what's so amazing is find out his name. I can't believe I forgot his name. But he is now a train conductor. He said, I had
Why wouldn't you be?
he goes, I had three goals in life. One was to, do like work for this. One was to play professional hockey, and one was something else. And he like, accomplished all of his goals. And he said, my dad was a train conductor, so in memory of him, I took all the classes, and he is now a train conductor.
Well, you should make a Goodwin Champions card of him as a train
I
conductor.
told him that. I told him that. Or he would have been great for SP Signature Legends. Put him in there as
Oh
as
yeah,
like where are they now, and have a picture of him with the train with the little horn and stuff. But
him and Tom
um,
Hanks could be like the two most famous train conductors, right?
there you
From
go.
Polar Express, right?
I
All
got
right.
I caught the reference.
Well, thanks for answering the bat signal here and coming on to talk about the Bedard Camps Young Guns. We will, of course, be in touch soon and keep coming up with crazy new stuff, man.
Yeah, and I can't wait. Grant listens to all of your shows, the whole thing. So
Mm-hmm.
now I know I'm going to get in trouble for admitting that I don't necessarily listen to it all. And he's going to say, why are you sitting there blabbing about this and that while you should be working on series one because it's due on a specific day? But I told him Josh comes first.
There you go. Well, I assume how much of our show that you soak in is part of your performance review, I'd hope, at this point. And when do Troy and I get when are we in line for the approvals on Series 1? Because I assume that you're going to want our input on that, right?
Oh, of course, of course. So let me see. You said you
Is it that the
wanted.
Thursday after never that you thought that you'd get that to us?
You said you want more Minnesota Wild content,
Mm-hmm.
and
But
Troy
only
said,
in reverse retro jerseys. We don't
a-
and
and
that
Troy
new.
wants coaches involved in the sets.
He wants coaches, Zambonis, goalie coaches, and more video game content and wrestling.
Oh, that's right. I didn't realize he was going to be so excited. I thought he was going to I thought he was going to like not trash, but I thought he wasn't going to be as excited about the video game stuff as he is. Didn't know he was a
No,
gamer.
he's much more the gamer. I'm the one who's not so much the gamer, so I'm still working to grasp that concept. But what do I know?
We need to send Troy some either Call of Duty or Overwatch or some of that stuff. If we didn't realize he was
Did
such
you
a
just
gamer.
mix up Call of Daddy and Call of Duty? You just called it Call of Duty.
I said Call of Duty. Did I say Call of Daddy?
No, I thought you said Call Her Duty.
Oh
Like you
no,
mixed
no.
up Call Her Daddy and
No.
Call of Duty.
Call of Duty.
Okay.
Call of Duty
Okay.
or Overwatch.
All right, man. Thank you so much. We'll talk to you soon.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, bye-bye. Okay, we're back. Well, you were busy. You didn't have a chance to. You have to watch it when you're editing. So just so I know what happened, Troy. You don't know.
Yeah.
You don't know. But you have looked at the card. So
Yes.
What's your reaction to the card? Are you into it? Do you think that they should have played it safe? What are your thoughts?
I do like the card. I like the concept. I like that they took a risk. I think this card will be either you love it or you hate it. I don't think there's going to be any middle ground. And I think the reaction is going to be all over the place. And I think the reaction will be very vocal too, both ways.
Anytime there's something different, you're going to hear about it. And I think Billy even pretty much acknowledged that in our interview. And what I told him, Troy, I think more or less is, and I'll just share it again here with you. I like it I don't know if I love the concept per se, but I love that they're trying something different. And I think we've both noticed this kind of interesting phenomenon with Young Guns Canvas. Right out of the gate, they're worth a ton and people go crazy for them.
Yeah.
They're even worth more than if a Young Guns canvas and a base Young Guns come out in the same flagship release.
Yes.
The canvas will sell for more than the base Young Guns. But then very shortly that flip-flops.
Yeah.
And it gets to the point where 2-3 years down the road, the canvas, same grade or raw, right? Just sort of an apples to apples comparison to the base, sells for half or so of what it does. And this is a case where this card will be interesting and noteworthy and talked about. And I think that that's important. It's kind of like where I'm starting to come around on the Series 1 NHL Draft short print Easter egg, which I don't particularly love the design of that card. It's just, I don't like portraits. It's just weird. He's like holding up his middle finger and so on and so forth. But it is a card, though, that I have to acknowledge created a hobby moment.
Yep.
It's noteworthy and it's memorable. So people will kind of remember that card coming out and the circumstances for which it came out for a good amount of years to come if Bedard pans out to like we think he will. And so I think this is kind of another example along those lines. The other thing that I just can't help but think is, do you believe that sort of the rate at which Fanatics has been sort of for going on 2 years now has been going outside the box and trying crazy concepts, that it's starting to rub off on Upper Deck a little bit, and that in some way may have either directly or indirectly inspired them trying something like this?
I gotta believe it. Well,
okay, but like, do you think they would have done this if Fanatics hadn't been like sewing patches on jerseys and having players now play with baseball cards in their back pocket? And
did you see that? That's crazy. Yeah. Man, I don't know. Because I've seen Upper Deck take chances before, but I do think they're taking more chances now, and that probably is directly related to what Fanatics is pushing into the market. So I'll say it was influenced by that.
Yeah, I'm really for all this. Just the idea of trying new stuff, because certainly some things will fall flat, but you always have the chance to really find something that will be, like I said, truly memorable, where 10 years from now, people will, that card will be held at a different level of esteem than maybe it would have been.
Well, think about Young Guns Renewed, man. We got tons of feedback on this, from some saying they love it to some saying F, because we were giving our grades. So it just starts at us. Hey, all news is good news, or whatever.
Well, get you talking about it, right?
Yeah.
Would we have done a whole segment and an interview on if it was just, him going like, hey, right, like a little portrait shot or something like that? Probably no.
No.
Oh, and last thing on this, Billy wanted to jump back on after we stopped recording, so we did a few minutes of outtakes. So again, stay tuned to the end of the show.
Yeah. So are you putting it at the end after the music of the audio version?
Yeah.
Okay, then I'm
like Marvel movie.
Okay.
Level. Oh yeah.
And then I'm putting it after our end screen. So if you're watching on YouTube, stay tuned after the end screen.
Which we just totally gave it away, but
I know. Because everyone would turn it off if we didn't say anything. They're like, click.
Well, then that would be like you if you were
only certain people would know. Only the cool kids. Yeah.
Let's roll into new product releases. Right. Trilogy came out today. Did you watch any breaks or anything like that?
The only thing I've seen, I didn't have a chance to watch any breaks, but I'm seeing like all the breakers I follow on Instagram are posting stuff. So I'm getting the notifications, and I just actually got one. I think it was a Carter Hart that someone posted. They look really nice though.
Yeah, I think the cards look okay. I don't know if I have like a ton to say about Trilogy that is earth-shattering. Bedards are not super rare, so I watched a number of case breaks. So I think a case is 20 boxes, and some cases I think you're seeing like 7 to 10 Bedards a case. So what's that on average? 1 in every 2, maybe 2.5 boxes, sort of deal. Which I think is a good thing. That given the box price was $160 US here for us today at our card shop, that you have a lower price point, you have Bedards are not super rare. It's like you're gonna like Series 2 go through probably 4 boxes to find a Bedard. Now again,
Yeah.
but these aren't going to be super high end either. And so I think that's the other point I want to make about the Bedard chase with this is there's like rookie renditions or the generations insert. There's even like a very high number to like out of 999. There's some even unnumbered base cards that sell right away. You might be able to get 30, 40, 50, $60 for that card today, but there's just I can't imagine a world where 3 months from now that those aren't finally getting to the $3, $4, $5, $6.
There, I'm just gonna show this again. I found it on our Instagram. There are so many Bedard cards in this thing that just remember.
This is not a set to go nutso today or tomorrow and way overspend for some card that, because even the lower numbered ones, again, 5-6 years from now, when we're looking at the cream of the crop of the Connor Bedard rookie cards, I have nothing against Trilogy. I think it was actually fun to open. I like the cards, but there's no card in this set that's going to compete with a Cup RPA. So don't spend like that, please.
Yeah.
But people will. So, yeah. And I'm actually, I get the sense too that a couple breakers I talked to today, our local card shop we went to, they're very, very happy to have a lower price point Bedard chase. It's stressful to them that every box with the Bedard rookie is $500. So I think that's a very good thing about the Trilogy release. We also, Troy, got an update today from Upper Deck. So we have some release calendar news to share. Now, again, these dates are not set in stone, but since it is coming directly from Upper Deck, we can expect them to be, I guess, what I'll call reasonably accurate. It looks like all 2023-24 products for the foreseeable future. So we've been really for 2 years now in this mode of ping-ponging back and forth between current year release and last year release. Trilogy's out today, of course. The next release would be 2023-24 Synergy that comes out on June 5th. So it looks like there's a little break for what here in the US would be Memorial Day weekend, start of summer, graduation type stuff. And then Synergy hits the shelves on June 5th. Yeah. And so dare I say another affordable Bedard release, right? About 120 a box right now. I do kind of find it a little fitting. I went down this whole like mental rabbit hole today about this, where you have Trilogy and Synergy back to back. It made me think of like if hockey products were wrestlers, Trilogy and Synergy would totally be a tag team, wouldn't they?
Tag team. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Well, what would their name be? I thought of a lot of things, but it was either not safe for families or potentially damaging to relationships. So I'm gonna bite my tongue. But I actually am becoming more and more of a fan of. I bought a lot of Synergy really cheap, and kind of like that too. So I'm part of me is looking forward to that release as well. Then the big one we talked about with Billy and the Bedard Young Guns canvas. Well, that will be an extended series, which Hobby comes out on June 12th and then retail on June 19th. Now, with Series 2, Upper Deck did the whole retail comes out a week after Hobby, but then we found out they just
they're the same day they were out.
So I'm a little bit a hint of skepticism for me on.
Well, do you think that was people breaking street date on retail?
Maybe.
I bet it was.
Yeah, good question.
Because once the one person does it, all of them will do it. Because they're like, well, I'm not going to sit here and let that guy or gal or shop or whatever get sales while I'm trying to be the good guy.
And then it looks like we'll probably have, I'm assuming, the next really big one. I think Extend will be pretty big, but SB Authentic will be huge, as they say. Okay, we'll move on. Talk about PWCC, Gongshow partner and sponsor. We're very grateful to them for their support of our show. The May premiere auction ends tonight. So, Troy, are you going to buy all 3 of these? Give me one.
Man, I thought now the Seismic Gold is almost past the Exquisite. So it's crazy. These things keep moving up and up. I think the patch auto from the Cups is the same, the RPA. $26,500 right now, US.
I really enjoy Jeremy's premiere show he does with Adam Gray.
Yeah.
Where do you know how the premiere auction is different from the weekly? And how the bids work?
No, I don't.
So the auction ends at the same time for every card.
Okay.
So when it goes, like when it gets into extended bidding and there's not a bid for a single card within whatever window it is, like a minute window, then the entire auction ends. So it adds kind of that level of suspense, right?
But if there's a bid on one card, then every card goes?
If there's 120 cards in the auction and one card gets a bid, the whole thing gets extended.
Okay.
So you can have like guys that will just want to get in a total dogfight for a card, and it makes the whole auction drag on for a couple hours. But yeah, always really big. And if you're just a fan of general sports cards, of course, there's 3 of the 100 or so cards are hockey. So Jeremy does that on his YouTube every Thursday that the premiere closes. So I thought I'd give him a little shout out. So time to get your bids in though, PWCCmarketplace.com. And then don't forget about the 5,400 hockey cards in the fixed price marketplace too. You'll find anything there, Troy, from Wayne Gretzky rookies to Bedard rookies. So tons of great cards. Yeah. Finally, the current PWCC weekly auction is live as well. 286 cards to choose from at PWCCmarketplace.com. And then remember, Jeremy Lee and I will be live as well this Sunday night, 8:30 Central on his YouTube channel, Sports Cards Live, for our weekly PWCC Hockey Watch Party. We hope to see you all there and participating in the chatting along with us. The other day, Troy, you and I picked out our favorite vintage and modern hockey cards from the current PWCC Weekly to highlight. And we're going to start with our vintage favorites from this week's auction. Now, I picked this 1911 C55 Joe Hall PSA 5. I don't remember if we've done this one before. Do you think we have?
I don't think so, but I was just thinking to myself, at some point, we're probably going to end up doing every single C55. I feel we don't do a lot of C56s, but I feel like there's a lot more C55s we do, because the C56 is 1910, right? It's the year before. Yeah.
It's weird how it's sort of flip-flopped what you would expect number-wise. Yeah, there's been a lot of very, very nice 1911 C55 cards in the PWCC Weekly lately. And if you are a vintage set builder, I would assume these last few sets have been a dream, especially if you're into pre-war cards. Cannot wait to get into Hall, Troy.
Well, I don't interrupt you, but so there in this weekly auction, if you are a Gretzky collector, go look at this, because I think half the auction are just Gretzky cards. A lot of them I haven't seen before. I'm sure they're pretty common, but there's a ton of Gretzky stuff out there.
Yeah, so we'll get into Hall as a player in a second. First, just cover the card really quickly. It's a PSA 5. The pop is 20. There's 38 graded higher. There's 6 PSA 5.5s, 24 PSA 6s, 2 PSA 6.5s, 5 PSA 7s, and then 1 lonely PSA 9. Biggest issue on the card that I see, Troy, is it's off-centered to the right.
Yep.
I don't know if what we call it, like 75-25.
Yeah,
something like that.
Maybe 80-20. 80-20, maybe. I love how his gloves are like a reddish tint, like he just beat the snot out.
Look how he's holding he's like holding.
It's very gentlemanly. He's like, "Hello, sir."
It's like a samurai weapon. He's got like under his armpit, and he's like in a sensei meditation mode. I love the old Quebec Bulldogs.
Yeah,
what sweaters, right? Basically,
sweaters. Yeah, it's all sweaters.
Like white and green striped sweater. Other than the centering, though, this card is super nice. It's got edge wear, but honestly, and I talked with Jeremy about, and he's kind of getting me to come around to the idea that now I'm going to propose this question to you, and you have to kind of think about it for a second. Doesn't it make the card feel more authentic to you to have corners like this than if they were like super sharpy sharp?
When I see it sharp, like when I think about that, like these old cards, and I'll think about baseball, like the Honus Wagner. As a kid, we used to have book fairs like every other kid, and there used to be I remember buying
the reprints.
There would be the reprints in like the baseball card album book or whatever I used to buy, and yeah, there used to be the reprints, and they're like totally perfect, kind of thicker card stock. That's what it reminds me of when they do look perfect.
Like
no, I'm
bright
fine
white.
Yeah, I'm fine with some wear on this stuff. I mean, geez, over 100 years old. That's crazy.
113 years old. I think it's a really nice eye appeal. Surface is nice. Color's nice.
Yeah.
You just got to get by the
Blue mark
centering,
here.
which is probably the biggest.
Yeah, and there's this
biggest issue.
Yeah, there's like a mark there. It looks like blue or something, but that's about it.
Pretty good. Troy, Joseph Henry Hall, otherwise known as Bad Joe, who is a Canadian hockey card player known for his aggressive playing style. I'm going to nominate right now Bad Joe for the hockey nickname Mount Rushmore.
So that has to be like, I'm a bad man, not he's a bad player. Bad man Joe.
Yeah.
Big Bad Joe, like the song Big Bad John.
Troy, he was born in the UK in 1981.
Well, what's he doing over here trying to take up spots from the
Millwich, England? I assume you played hockey there?
No, I did not. First time in England was a month or 2 months ago.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Hall was a 3-time Stanley Cup champion, winning twice, Troy, with your Quebec Bulldogs, and then once with the Kenora Thistles. Who the heck are the Kenora Thistles?
Why would you name your... I'm assuming it's after like the thistle plant or whatever.
It's a Christmas thing, right? Like,
oh man, that's it. I'm thinking of like the things that prick you, aren't those thistles?
Yeah. Isn't there something like thistles in like the night?
I don't know.
Christmas, I don't know. Yeah, so he won a Stanley Cup with the
tinsel.
Oh yeah. Very sad ending to Hall's life, though, Troy. That's related to hockey in the Stanley Cup, believe it or not. So listen to this. During the 1919 Stanley Cup Finals, also a really good root beer that year.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think they served 1919 root beer at the Stanley Cup Finals?
I don't know. Maybe.
Well, maybe they shouldn't have, because Hall was playing for the Montreal Canadiens, and they had played 4 games against the Seattle Metropolitans. Each team winning 2 games. I love how in our notes I put they played 5 games. Each team. I'm so dumb. Okay, they played 4 games. Each team won 2 games. In addition to root beer, though, 1919 is also known for the Spanish flu pandemic, often referenced when we had our current. But it was a very pandemic theme to the show, Troy.
Yeah.
And while in Seattle for the Stanley Cup Finals, multiple players from each team became ill. The series was actually canceled after Game 4, but Hall was one of the players that got very sick, was hospitalized, and then died 4 days later. That's crazy, huh?
That is nuts.
So he basically died in the Stanley Cup Finals because of the pandemic. I think he had pneumonia as a result, which is often what kills many people. Yeah. But a great hockey player, Hall of Famer. I think he was elected to the Hall of Fame in 1961. Like I said, 3-time Stanley Cup champion. Last sale of the 1911 C55 Joe Hall PSA 5 was $499 in February 2022. All-time high, $535 from the PWCC Weekly in March 2014. You got a current bid?
Yeah, $490. I think it'll get to an all-time high.
Very aggressive, Troy. $490 currently. Okay, you got the next card.
All right, I do got the next one. Here it is on YouTube if you're watching. 1964 Topps Hockey, Bob Pulford.
There's been a ton of these Cowboys in the
PWC. They're coming in. They're coming in strong. So this one's a PSA 7. And again, it's one of these. We've talked about tall boys a little bit, but Bob Pulford, I don't think we've ever talked about. And it's, again, these guys, I don't think I ever heard of them. You look them up and, oh, you were pretty good. So let's talk about this and look at this card. But okay, 1964 Topps hockey cards. Big thing to note, as Josh said, these are tall boys. They measure 2.5 inches by 4 and 11/16 inches. Just remember that card is a PSA 7. Overall, looks great condition. As your card that you just did, the Joe Hall. This one's definitely off center too. And this might be a 85-15, maybe a 90-10. It's really thin on the left side. Very chunky on the right side. So, but besides that, it looks really, really nice. Corners and edges look good. I mean, there's some roughness up here, which I guess I would kind of like to see. Again, this is a Topps card. Corners look good. Besides that, the colors look nice. There is some dots. Like you see some printing, probably imperfections, some yellow things there. But it's not on him. So that's where it doesn't really bother me that much. But overall, PSA 7, I think this card looks really, really nice. Really good color. If you look at the back, you can see a little more of like some whitening because those full color edges it's hard to get those all the way to the edge. So you can see it's kind of short there. But again, We love cartoons, or I love cartoons. I think every card should have a cartoon on the back. This one, Pulford received his degree from McMaster University. So he was a learned man.
Is that a real place? McMaster University?
McMaster University. Yeah, he was actually, well, we'll see. He was a pretty smart dude, I think. So there he is, Bob Pulford. Card looks absolutely fantastic. Besides, the off-centered. If you can live with that, I think it's really good. Top to bottom center, yeah, it's kind of hard to tell. I think it's pretty good. But, okay. So let's look at Bob Pulford. Hall of Famer, 4-time Cup winner, 281 goals, 362 assists, 643 points in 1,079 games played 16 seasons in the NHL, 14 with the Maple Leafs, 2 with the Kings. Josh, in 1967, Pulford was elected the first president of the NHLPA.
Wow.
Well, there you go. After his playing career was over, Pulford was the head coach of the LA Kings before moving on to a head coach / GM role with the Chicago Blackhawks, won the Jack Adams Award with the Kings in the 1974-75 season. So pretty successful hockey career. And I actually think he's still alive, if I remember right. All right, PSA 7. Pop of this card is 41. Previous sale of a PSA 7 copy of this card, Josh, was exactly the same card, same registration number. Via eBay, though, and verified in Terapeak on February 3rd of this year for $250 US. So do you think this is like a flip? Is this someone that bought it and then their wife yelled at them, or their other significant other and they have to get rid of it, or what? But yeah, it was just bought in February for $250 US. Current bid, $58 US.
I'm trying to figure out if like everybody in the 50s or 60s made the Hall of Fame, or we just still like have no clue about the history.
Yeah, I know some of them did. I remember looking at some guys. I was like, oh no, he was not. He didn't play in the Hall. He didn't get to make the Hall of Fame.
It blows my mind that like we're still, after 2 years ish, being introduced to people like this.
Yeah.
Still, where it's like if, let's say 3 days ago, if I would have said, okay, bet $50, Bob Pulford, Hall of Famer, yes or no?
I'd have been like,
I would have bet no.
No, probably no.
Okay, last vintage card we're going to talk about is the 1962 Parkhurst Gordie Howe number 30. It's important, 30. PSA 8. I don't think we previewed this card before. We've previewed just about every other Gordie Howe card, but I don't think I'd ever seen this one. The card is vertical, has a yellow background, big puck behind Gordon, as he's called on the card. What if like the card is like his mom designed this card and she was mad at him? Gordon. So PSA 8, pop 135, 36 graded higher. There's 3 PSA 8.5s and 33 PSA 9s. Now, Troy, I am much more familiar with the card 31, which has Gordie Howe in front of a big puck, but it's horizontal. Design card with the solid white back. I should have added a picture of that card. I don't know why I did. I did some searching. I'm like, well, why are there two? So for the card 30 is a Gordie Howe vertical yellow background. Card 31, Gordie Howe horizontal white background. And it's not like one's like an all-star or something like that. And I even looked at Bobby Burrell's vintage hockey card collector to try to see, well, and they just reference that there's multiple designs for cards, but not really why. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I'm going to bring it on here. Right there. That's the one he was talking about.
Mm-hmm.
The 31.
Which one do you like better?
I actually like this one better because I think I like vertical cards.
Yeah, me
this
too.
One, yeah, I kind of like, I don't know. The yellow thing throws me off, but it kind of fits. I don't know.
What's your opinion on vintage when they put the card number in the front? I kind of dig that. I'm going to admit.
Oh, yeah, it doesn't. It doesn't bother me. I guess I'm kind of indifferent. It doesn't bother me, but it's kind of nice when you're.
So the yellow background version is more rare at a PSA 8. The white background PSA 8 pop is 182. Remember the PSA 8 of the yellow is 135. I don't know. Maybe Parkhurst was doing some like early prototype testing on parallels or something like that. Little wood collectors know there would be hundreds of parallels in the same card. You know, just a few generations later. Yeah. Well, I think too why I prefer this one is the other one is very plain.
Yeah.
For this one, you have a little more color.
Got the facsimile auto.
Facsimile auto, yeah. And as far as condition goes, it's I think really good. It's a pitch off center, like maybe to the left. Top to bottom looks pretty good. The surface looks fine. Corners look okay. A very solid 8, probably. I'm not going to argue with the grade. There's a little bit of like yellowing or aging on the white border.
Yeah.
But I'm kind of one again that likes that. It's like when they're too brilliant or bright white, it's a little weird when cards are like 60-year-old paper. So I'm a fan of this card. And again, if you're looking for a nice Gordie Howe Playing Days card, you want to add to your collection that doesn't cost more than a car, which some of his earlier stuff definitely will. This might be an option for you to consider. Troy, the last sale of the 1962 Parkhurst Gordie Howe, number 30, PS8 456 US on February 15th. All-time high, $726 US from last November. You got a current bid?
$52 US.
Okay, we're going to switch to modern. And we've been accused, I'm just going to say, of not featuring Rangers dudes enough.
Oh. What?
Happened. Yeah. Believe it or not, Troy, some people think
we talk about Laffy all the time. Or featuring them in this section.
And I want to mention, too, for the record, and I don't know if anyone's noticed this, maybe just me, but when I've come up with like our Rookie Deep Dive, Hobby Deep Dive, like for instance, there were Dos Rangeros. That's a Spanish, in case you didn't know that, right? Dos Rangeros players in this week's Hobby Deep Dive, and Wyatt Johnston got like 59,000% of the vote. So, but I wanted to
the whole show. The whole show we don't feature Rangers, not just the PWCC section, right? Okay.
And we have mentioned too, I think, that it would be good for there to be a little more of a hobby buzz around some Rangers. It's what the most important media market in the world. It's original 6 team, and it is kind of head scratching a little bit that that they're very much like, I don't even know if there's like a B level hobby star in the Rangers. It's like starts at C probably. So for that reason, because I wanted to show a little love, given that they're playing so dang well too, and particularly to this player who's had a really awesome year, I picked a 2015-16 UD Ice Artemi Panarin 2005 Retro Ice Premieres out of 149 PSA 9. It's a pop 1 with 5 graded higher. The 05 Retro design is, of course, notable as it's the Crosby and Ovechkin rookie years, so they're very famous Ice Premieres cards with that design. Those would have been out of 99, though. And just a reminder, there is sort of the regular 2015 Ice Premieres out of 99 for Panarin. That will probably be a little bit more valuable in this one. But I think this is a cool rookie card if you're a Rangers or Breadman fan. Ice Premieres are the acetate cards where it's a semi-transparent, of course, plastic card. More design elements on them, though, and coloring than you would typically see like on a clear-cut card. So it's more like translucent. Is that what they would call that, Troy, to use big words?
It's a big word. Yes, I think that's what the word is.
Very proud of myself. For me, it's a great alternative. If you like, let's say you're a Panarin collector, maybe you already have his Young Guns or just looking for something different. I think this would be a great option. So the 32-year-old Russian Dynamo, coming up a monster season, is best in the NHL. He had 49 goals and 120 points. Career highs for both goals and points. His prior career high for goals was 32 in 2019-20, so it's 17 goals.
Yeah.
Played very well in the playoffs, too, with 4 goals, 5 assists for 9 points, 9 games played. Did you know this, Troy, that he went undrafted?
I did not know that. Did not know that.
So scouts saw him as too small at 5'11", 170 pounds, which seems like completely average for the Cole Caulfields and
5'11". That's, I mean,
maybe slight was the issue at 170 pounds. He was also a bit of a late bloomer, and then there was the whole Russia factor, which
you don't know what you're getting.
These kind of all sort of were reasons why he was not drafted. But you'd have to think he'd be on some sort of, if we came up with like an undrafted all-star team, he would be a prime candidate for that.
For sure.
I also have to make a confession when it comes to Panarin. Am I the only person in the world before today that didn't know why he was called Breadman?
Well, it's got to be because is it because Panini or Panarin, like Panini.
Yeah, it was.
Red.
Yeah, he was a rookie in Chicago. The veterans, poke fun at the rookies.
Yeah.
They thought his name sounded very familiar to Panera Bread. So that's why they called him Breadman, which I have to admit, too, is a little bit disappointing. I was hoping for something a little more epic than Panera.
Yeah, I think I do that. Like, I knew it was the bread and the restaurant chain or the fast, whatever they are. Casual fast food, is that what they call them?
Yeah. Now, this whole the values thing gets crazy to me on this card, and is more evidence why there's no hobby market for.
Well, I was just say before you were talking with the 120 points, I just be like, and the hobby don't care one bit that he has 120 points.
Here's some proof. Last sale, the 2015-16 Upper Deck Ice Artemi Panarin 05 Retro Ice Premieres out of 149 PSA 9 was $22, $22, 22 American. Was that 70 million rubles? But about $30 Canadian. Kroner is that
that's Sweden?
Oh, dude, yeah. I got that.
Swedish or Norwegian? I can't remember which one.
Okay, what's Finland? What do they do? Finland doesn't use rubles, do they?
No, I can't remember what they. Well, now they're all on the euro, probably, right? Are all three of those countries, Sweden, Norway, and Finland, in the euro?
It's safe to say we're out of our depth right now.
Oh, I'm looking. The Finnish Marka, Marka.
Okay.
Don't worry, I'll just go over there again and check it out and report back.
Play hockey. Yeah, so $22 for what it's not like the most significant card, but it's not a piece of junk either. It's kind of pathetic.
Yeah.
That was also the all-time high. So he had 120 points last season. Also, a good chance he's gonna have 1,000 points before he retires. Hobby is very fickle and funny at times. Raw sales sound like the 35-40 range. It's funny too how a PSA 9 has gotten to the point where it's like punished, where I'd rather just buy a rock card and hope it can get a 10. You got a current bid?
$21 US. We're almost there.
Well, I will be with buyer's premium. It'll be all-time record.
I always forget that.
Should I start the social post right now?
Yeah,
all-time record, $32.
But see, I bet the Rangers people will still be mad because he's in a Blackhawks jersey. So it's like we're still kind of featuring him. I wanted to throw a joke in there. I totally thought it when you were saying that. I should have been, no, it's just because we hate the Rangers. But no, we love all NHL teams.
Well, I'm going to turn it over to our Leaf correspondent, Troy.
Yeah, here we go. Here we go. All I care about is Leaf from now on. That's all I'm talking about. No, I chose this card because it just immediately jumped out at me, and Josh stole the other card I was going to do. So.
Oh, really?
Well, I saw it, and I was like, oh, that's a cool card. And then I go to the outline, and you already had it. So I was like, all right, this card.
I'm just kidding. The only comment I'll make, and I'll make it right now on this card, is this is how Leafs should do every one of their cards. Like, there's no obvious, not licensed, weird, like blank jersey thing. So I could get behind this card.
Yeah. So this card is just awesome. It's a 2015 Leaf Signatures or Signature Series, and it's it's called a Forever Legends, like the number 4, because there's 4 people signing. So not hard, but PSA 9, population 101. And I don't think there's any other PSA graded copies of this card because I couldn't find them in their registry. And again, we don't usually look at Leaf cards. Not the biggest fan of their products, but if you've listened to our show in the last 2 months, I'm becoming the #1 Leaf supporter for some reason because I've actually looked at a couple of their cards. But this one definitely caught my eye. 4 Hall of Fame goalies with autos on one card. What else could you want? And I wish all 4 had masks, but obviously I don't think Johnny Bauer played with a mask, I don't think. But the 3 that do have masks is awesome. I love cards like that. And they're all 4 Hall of Famers. It's Grant Fuhr, Johnny Bauer. Is it Jerry Cheevers? I always want to say Gary, but I think it's Jerry Cheevers. And then Ed Jockman. Took me forever.
Best goalie of the 4.
Oh, man. I don't know. It's different eras between like Johnny Bauer and I mean, my heart wants to say Fuhr just because we've been talking about him and I started reading about him again. And man, he's got some accolades for, and he played us time. I mean, I get he was with Edmonton, but I want to say
worst hobby financial investment you've ever made. You get two choices: $750 on a Kaprizov Young Guns PSA 10, or the Leaf Art of Hockey box you bought.
Oh man,
because you spent like some like dough. That was like $400, wasn't it?
I think it was like three, maybe three, like upper twos. Obviously, from a financial perspective, the Kaprizov, but boy, I have never bought a worse box in my life than that Art of Hockey, and I wanted to love it. Like, hits all the feels: art, hockey. Obviously, it's unlicensed, but
art is a loose term.
Yeah, art is a loose term. Well, it's interpretive art, right? Anyways, all right, poorly. Here we go. Okay, so again, got the 4 Hall of Fame goalies. PSA 9 auto is, I think. So it says auto 9, so the auto must be all 4 autos. What if one was like a 3 and the other auto was a 7? Do they just say 7, or do they? I don't know how that works, but auto grade.
Yeah, I have no idea how you grade multiple.
Yeah, but so it's a Forever Legends autograph card. Now it's serial number 12 out of 5, or sorry, 12 out of 25. Here's the thing: I couldn't figure out what this is, like what parallel it is, or if it's.
Isn't that classic Leaf though? Or like
that's classic Leaf, classic Leaf. But I went to TCDB. I went to TCDB. I looked in the 2015 Leaf Signatures series, found them in the inserts and parallel section. There were the 4 verses. There was like gold, blue. None of them that they had listed were out of 25. So I'm like, okay, I don't know what to call this. And I was thinking Easter egg parallel. Someone will tell me that, I tried to find a Leaf checklist on their site. I couldn't find it. But anyways, card looks really nice. Again, does have sticker autos. Be aware of that. Condition looks really, really good. The only thing I saw was on the top tippies of the corner. You see just a little bit whitening or chipping, I guess you want to call it. But besides that, again, four Hall of Fame goalies with autos on one card. Looks really nice. I did find a previous sale of this card, not the exact card, but in Card Ladder, it was raw copy out of 25, Josh, for $51 on July 3rd, 2015. So if you want to use that comp, go for it. Current bid, $31.
When did the Wild sign Parisi and Suter? Was it around that day?
It would have been 2000. It was July 4th. Was it 2011?
Oh, okay.
Or 12?
Well, pretty cheap to get 4 autos of Hall of Fame players.
Yeah.
Can't beat that.
July 4th, 2012.
So I'm assuming that the card that I picked is the one you were thinking about. The 2003 for Bowman Marc-Andre Fleury rookie auto EGS 910.
I just wanted it for the Coho equipment. I love that. You don't see that.
Well, it's got that like the perfect color. It's like the yellow leather, basically. So I'm from northern Minnesota, the Iron Range, like choppers, like the yellow leather choppers. It looks kind of like that. What about his is that a weird stance?
It's a totally weird stance. I don't know what he's doing, or if he's in the middle of like a move or something, but I do remember Fleury kind of being a little awkward at the beginning, but man, this is something. This stance. This is not what we teach today on how to proper stance, but hey, he's going to be a Hall of Famer, so I'm not.
Oh yeah. The card is from the 2003 Bowman draft picks and prospect set. Only came in as an auto, so believe it or not, this is not a parallel.
Oh wow.
Of the 46 rookie cards in the set, 10 came this way in auto. The other notable rookie would be Patrice Bergeron, who's one of the 10 cards that's autographed as well. There is a Bowman Chrome auto too, but I actually prefer the paper auto because I don't love autographs on Chrome surface. Yeah,
so if they don't have the right pen or something, it can be a little fadey.
Yeah, it gets
sketchy
and then there's the bubbling stuff that happens. Like you mentioned, he's rocking the yellow leather Coho pads. Kind of cool. I also like there's a certified autograph issue foil stamp on it, which kind of makes it feel like more special or something like that. I didn't do a big research project or anything like that, but I would assume and I'm probably right, that there's not many pack pulled Fleury rookie auto options from 2003. Definitely not like today. So
yeah,
it probably makes this card a touch more significant as well. And remember, at the time, there's no cup or ultimate. So something like this I'm sure the chrome, and there's like refractor autos, but still, I'm going to take the paper one over all those. Troy, what do you think the most ever spent on a Marc-Andre Fleury card has been?
I would say it's got to be I'll say $1,100. No. I don't think it's
$4,300 US for a Young Gun PSA 10.
Wow.
In April 2022. So this Young Gun PSA 10 pop is only 43. I think it's very tough. I'm not sure the hobby was super popular in 2003. Not a big print runs.
Yeah.
I'm going to be paying attention. One of the things next year is kind of see how his market performs as he goes. It's basically the Marc-Andre Fleury victory lap, right? When he goes back to Montreal, they'll probably give him a Renault or a Peugeot or something like that. Or, throw, I don't know, flowers at him, right? Flower.
There you go.
So I think that he's going to kind of get into that lovable old time go. And I actually think that there will be a hobby following and collectors of him for years to come.
Yeah, it seems like he should be a TV guy. Like he should go on TV. Now, I'm guessing he's a lot more comfortable doing French. So I wonder if he would be like a French sportscaster or something. But man, if they could find room for him on ESPN or TNT.
I was gonna say TNT, but they got the whole Hank thing that they got.
Yeah, you can't
have more than one goal.
You have one goal. You can't have more than one.
I'm sure. Well, he's an easy guy to be a fan of, so that's why I think that there'll be a collector base for him. Could not find any BGS 910 sales of this card. Last sale though for a rock copy was 180 US in February. That's a pretty good deal, I would think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All-time high for this card was another rock copy that sold for 305 US in January of 2022. You got a current bid, Troy?
$96 US.
You can bid on these 6 cards and any other of the 280 additional cards in this week's auction at PWCCmarketplace.com. All right, Troy, personal pickups. What do you got?
Nothing. I broke my streak. None.
Did you have some last time?
Yeah, I had. What did I have? I don't know. I had those 3 North Star cards. And then I had something else. I'll look at it while you talk.
All right, well, I did another trade on my card post. Very easy to trade on their platform. I say all the time I love it because it's true. And they're a sponsor of our pack opening videos. For full disclosure. Didn't pick up anything too crazy. Although I did. Oh, no. Where'd it go? Oh, here it is.
Did you lose it?
I had to go to the post office and get Wayne today.
Nice.
He's my buddy. He's my podcast buddy now. My Wayne Gretzky 16-bit that I got in trade on my card post. Talked about that last show. Well, I did another little trade. And Troy, in our game room, I have the Super Checks bubble hockey game where it's Minnesota Wild versus Chicago Blackhawks. I also have the Flyers that I can switch out the Blackhawks players for too. And because of that, and it's kind of a fun game we play here at the house, I was intrigued when the bubble hockey insert came out in 2022-23 credentials. I think we're a little disappointed with in actuality what it came out to be, but this card was available. It's an Austin Matthews bubble hockey. It became available on my card post, and I wanted to see it in hand. It does actually look a little bit better. Even doesn't translate to the photo here because actually in the acetate background that looks clear. There's a little more of the bubble hockey sort of background to it. So again, it's not perfect execution, but I'm a bubble hockey guy, so I had to get it. Next card I picked up was this kind of like little PC stuff. Our guy Kaprizov, the Purple Spectrum from 2021-22 Metal Universe. This is numbered out of 199. It's like the first not PMG, but sort of PMG. It isn't PMG, but
PMG.
I was
gonna tell you, I did not have any cards last week, so forget me trying to say I broke the streak.
Then I picked up a really, really cheap, but I like it. OBG Glossy Brock Faber rookie from 2023-24 Series 2. Got to, stand for our guy Brock. And then finally, I threw in the trade this 2023-24 Jet Greaves Young Guns Deluxe. I looked him up, and he's kind of lighting it up in the AHL. And God knows the Blue Jackets probably need a goalie and about 12 other teams in the NHL. So this is like this is the type of card that I'll get cheap, and I'll just stuff it away in a box and forget about it. And then hope someday there's like this Jet Greaves hobby moment and be like, ooh, I have a Young Guns Deluxe.
Yeah.
Those are my pickups.
Nice.
All right, well, that's our show. If you like the episode, please leave a rating and review on Apple, Spotify, or whatever podcast app you listen to us on. If you love the show, you want to support us, want to chat with us on the Hockey Cards Gongshow Discord server, please consider a $5 a month donation. Join our $1.99 support level tier on Patreon. Link is in the show description, whether you're listening to us on podcast app or on YouTube. It's in our Instagram and TikTok profiles. You can go to our website, hockeycardsgongshow.com, and click on the Become a Patron link, or go to the Patreon website, patreon.com, and just search for Hockey Cards Gongshow. We're on social media. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Twitter, and YouTube. And Troy, the Hockey Cards Gongshow podcast is a production of Dollar Box Ventures, LLC.
Oh, I was gonna say I lied to you and told you that this should be like an outtake, but we can't try to fool the the watchers and the listeners. Basically, I just wanted a poll for your people, and we had finished recording and I forgot. But so I lost my last Stanley on the airplane.
That's
Yeah,
like
I know.
$150 now,
I
right?
was stupid. I left it, and I had the 32 ouncer, and I'm like, I don't need one of those big ones. Like, I don't drink that much water. But it makes it so I don't drink soda. I call it pop, but I was saying soda for all the people on the West Coast.
I'm from Minnesota. We call pop, don't worry.
Okay, good. So I got this. Now for Christmas, one of my coordinators got me some really cool stickers, and I'm like, you know what? Maybe it'll be better if I put some stickers on this so I won't lose it. So I need people's opinion on which sticker I should put on this. So we're gonna start off with the Cider Raymond sticker. Nice American flag.
I love how these are like political style, election style stickers. Kind of funny.
Yeah, I like it. It has an American flag, and neither one of them are American, but
that's true.
I'm gonna leave this one for last. We have our
wait. Speaking of that, have you ever seen I believe it's like the old Parkers, like 50s Parker set, where they have Gordie Howe, your Red Wings guy, and he's behind an American flag.
Yes. Oh, yes.
I think the same thing.
I love that card. But I love it. But that's because like Red Wings are American. Yeah. Okay. I have the Zetterberg that suit.
Winner, chicken dinner. Ding, ding, ding. Over. Contest over. That's it.
So I like this one too. I don't know how much love it's gonna get. What is the answer is two guys that beat up Patrick Waugh. Oh,
ooh. Make America Osgood.
Yes. Yep. See, they even know. I didn't even have to say anything. And this is my favorite. I have to admit. So this is I'm leaning towards this one, but I wanted to get your audience's the approval. But I got the Yzerman Lindstrom. Lindstrom's
that's
like
pretty awesome.
My favorite Red Wing. Yeah. So I'll let the people decide. But if they don't pick this one, it's still probably going on the cup. But I'll let them decide the second one. Unless it's this one, then we'll just put that one on there.
Okay, I have like 3 rapid fire questions. Why do 2023 employee exclusive PMGs not have any number? Why are they not numbered?
They used to be, and then we got a lot of employees because we've been growing every year. Okay. So we just decided to not number them anymore.
Can you explain in the Parker's Champion set, there's the redemption for the 51 Parkies buybacks? What are those?
Yeah. They're actual signed Parkhurst 51 slab signed 51 cards that we had purchased.
Now, so they're trying to be delicate here. I mean, I have some stickers because 51 was a long time ago, and some people
no. These are old. These are hard signed. cards. Like they are the
Oh.
original 51s. We went out because people get cards signed. You're talking
They
to a
do?
guy that yes, you're talking
Oh.
to a guy that does it himself. So we bought slabbed Parkhurst cards that were already signed by the athlete from 1951, 52.
2023-24 Cup release date.
It's been great talking to you. Thanks for having me. Thanks for the second segment. And I did you say so? Oh, I can't hear you anymore. So I guess
We're gonna do a daily show now called Mornings with Billy. We're just gonna so block off all morning. See what your boss will say about that.
That would be amazing.
All right, man. Thanks.
All right, thanks again.
Goodbye.